What did Jesus say?
What?
Turn water into wine.
You know what I'm saying? So we do. Shit, that might be how we started. Turn water into wine. Well, yeah. So what's up, y'all? Appreciate everybody for tuning in. We are now on episode 5 of Vino Conversations, and today I am joined by
Monique.
All right. We're gonna start with our cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. We're drinking Vino Branco, I think is the name.
I love me some white wine.
Word. I'm gonna let you go first with what you're tasting. Nothing's wrong. Whatever you say is valid. Anything you say is valid. I'm trying to get this too.
I mean, it's perfect for me, honestly. Like, I don't like something that's too sweet. Like, I do like
Facts.
a more drier wine.
Mm-hmm.
It feels very, like, well-balanced, which is good.
Okay.
Maybe some, like, fruity tone.
Facts.
I'm not good at this shit.
Nah, you're doing great.
I'm not good at this shit. I'm trying.
I say the same thing in terms of definitely well-balanced. It's not, like, overly acidic, even though it's dry. I would say the fruit, it's not, like, too citrusy. Sometimes white wines be very lemony, which isn't a bad thing, but I'm saying this one is a little more... like almost like pearish, green apple type vibe. You know what I'm saying?
I love a good like apple tone, like white wine. I do.
Word.
Yeah.
And not overly dry either. So so shout out Portugal for those wine drinkers out there. I would say the most underrated and best priced wines for like bang for your buck. So culturally, France, Spain, Italy are like the most popular wine countries. Really? So Portugal as a neighbor in Western Europe is kind of like not thought of because they don't market themselves like that. So you can get a really good bottle for a lot better deal than like France, Spain, and Italy.
I'm actually going to Portugal.
Oh shit, where?
In September.
For what?
It's my sister's wedding.
Fire.
Like low key shit. Like you're not really trying to. She's not trying to tell nobody.
Nah, there's nothing low key about a wedding in Portugal.
But yeah. So I'm super excited. I'm gonna have to check out a venue.
That's fire. Absolutely. No doubt. Well, thank you for coming on. Really appreciate you. So I'll let you do like a little bit of an introduction to yourself, and then I'll get into
no pressure.
No pressure.
But yeah, my name is Monique. I'm the editorial assistant at Glamour. I've been there for 2 years.
Okay.
I do a lot of different stuff. The editorial assistant title, and we'll get into this, but it's really more than just an assistant or really more than just editorial. I do a lot of operations, events. Honestly, in the time that I've been there, I've been a part of so many amazing opportunities.
Wow.
And I have the pleasure of working with a really great boss who has allowed me to sort of like take those on for myself. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Nah, fire. So we got to take it all the way back. So tell everybody where you from, what it was like growing up, and what was like the initial seed that was planted in your childhood that kind of started leading you to where you are today.
Yeah. Okay. So born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, kind of. With a little asterisk.
Okay.
So I was born at Long Island University Hospital in downtown Brooklyn by the Applebee's, we know. And yeah, I lived there for like a little bit in Canarsie. I'm Guyanese. Both my parents are Guyanese.
Okay.
So that
Big
was
Guyana,
like
you were? Yeah.
Okay. So Canarsie, if you know, is a lot of Caribbean people. But then at some point I moved to England, actually.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What
when
years?
I was 4, say maybe 3-4 years old.
Okay.
And I have family there. I think that's really common with like a lot of like West Indian people. It's like some people come to America, some people go to England. Like, so I had a lot of family in England. My grandma lived in England. So I went to primary school there. Like I had a little British accent.
You even said primary school instead of elementary school.
Yeah,
that's how I know for real. You was really in England.
Yeah, like I used to live with my cousins, and I'm still really close with to this day. And then my dad got remarried and we went to Zimbabwe.
Wow.
Yeah. So
What's
I was
Zimbabwe?
His wife.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No,
his ex-wife.
Gotcha.
But yeah. So I was 6 years old when we went, and I went to school there too. I was there for about a year. A little private school called Froggy Pond. And yeah, it was just very multicultural. Like looking back, I can't believe I had that experience when I was so young.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was there until I was about 7, and then I came back to the U.S.
Okay.
And then I like have been here ever since. I moved to the Bronx at one point.
Big BX, you were?
Okay, you're okay. And I like just went to public schools all my life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, how was that?
I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Like in the moment, obviously there's times as a New York City public school student that you feel like, oh, there's better opportunities at private schools. But honestly, like even when I think about my kids and like the future, like I would want them to have a public school experience, especially in New York.
Yeah.
I think New York is special in the fact that it's not necessarily just zone schools. I know a lot of other states and cities, it's wherever you live, you have to go to your nearest school.
That's how mine was. Yeah.
But for New York, for high school, they give you this big, thick book of like all the high schools all across the boroughs. And like all the requirements and all that type of stuff. And you get to choose where you want to go.
Fire.
And some of them are zone only, but some of them are based on your scores. And it's funny that I ended up at Georgetown because I was not like elementary, middle school. I was not like the smartest kid. Like, you know what I mean? Like I didn't get the best grades all the time. So I ended up going to high school for environmental studies, which is in Hell's Kitchen, 56th Street between 9th and 10th Avenue. Right by Central Park. Right by Central Park.
Right.
And I just met the most amazing people. Like I just feel like I've had very diverse interactions with people because I live in New York. So when I came back from Zimbabwe, I lived still in Brooklyn. And so my elementary school was very Caribbean. Like all my teachers were Trinidadian, Grenadian, Guyanese, Jamaican, and my dad knew all of them. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was that sort of like culture, community. And then I ended up switching schools. I went to middle school in Gramercy Park.
Okay.
Which is very different from like East Flatbush. It's very white, a lot of Jewish people. I was one of only 2 Black people in my class, like the gifted and talented class of the school. And so that was an interesting experience, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
And then high school, very different, Hispanic.
Okay.
A lot of the white people were Albanian. They were like Eastern European. Like they lived in the Bronx, you know what I mean? A lot of Puerto Ricans. So I feel like all of those experiences like formed my opinion on the world and just allowed me to like, I feel like be a better person, especially going to Georgetown.
Yeah.
That's a whole other, beast.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So how did you go from studying, you said environmental studies in high school?
Yeah.
To then getting into the, going to school for pursuing media and everything like that?
Yeah. So I never really wanted to study environmental studies.
Okay,
it was more just
you.
like that was the best option for school that I had at the time. But in my time there, like I really liked the English classes that I did. I've always loved reading. I've always loved writing. I would do like short stories for myself or like my family about like.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I would like I remember like when I was really young, like maybe like 7 or 8, and they would be like. We had a desktop in the kitchen, and like I would create these like PowerPoint slides of like short stories that I would create, and I would. Like Obama had just been elected. Like this is like 2007, 8. And obviously Malia and Sasha were like my besties in my head. In my head. And so I would like write myself into like their family. And I would
that's cute. That's cute.
Yeah, I would be like, oh, I'm going to school with them, and like this is what my room looked like. And you're just being a kid and like imagining stuff. I love chapter books like Junie B. Jones and like Unfortunate Series of Events. Like and then like English was always just a subject that I excelled at. So then when I went to Georgetown, I actually wanted to be a lawyer.
Glad you got out of that.
Me too.
Shout out all the lawyers, though. We need y'all, but
shout out. But
nah.
That's just that wasn't what's gonna happen for me.
Word.
It was really just because parents and dad told me, oh, you should be, you like to talk, so you should do that. But no, and then I was there pursuing government. That was going to be my major. And then the pandemic happened and we all got sent home.
You went to college. You one of them.
Yeah. Not one of them.
Nah, because I graduated in 2019, so I just
you missed?
died.
Oh, wow.
And I got a little taste of like the real world post-college until...
Wow.
And I had like multiple trips before the pandemic. So it hit and I was so tight because I didn't have my first summer as like a working young professional. Yeah. But at least college was just like college.
Oh, yeah.
Damn. So how much of college were you pandemic?
It was maybe a good year.
Okay.
So I was actually on my spring break when we found out that
I was on
were
spring
not-
break and someone's like, "Yo, your graduation's canceled." Yeah, not me. The class of
Oh,
2020 people.
right. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I can't like.
It was mad class of 2020 people, and there's like, yeah, no graduate, like it's done.
Like honestly, I'm still grateful for the time that I had because I can't imagine if I was class of 2020, like that would just
They got
be
cooked,
so.
bro. They got cooked.
But yeah, me and my friends were in Puerto Rico, and we got like
I was in Puerto Rico too.
Stop.
That's mad funny.
Puerto Rico's really
Nah, that's mad
like
funny.
Puerto Rico's really like
Yeah,
the spot for like
it
the
is.
college kids.
Yeah,
It's like
for
it's still
sure.
America, but it's like you
Yeah,
could drink and like
for
stuff
sure.
like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was the end of my sophomore year.
Okay.
That was March. So literally we came back from Puerto Rico, went straight to school, packed up our stuff, and like went back home. And I stayed home the first semester of my junior year. That was actually the best semester I had.
Like in what
Like
sense?
academic wise.
Oh, yeah,
like
sure.
I
You
was
cooking.
getting
Yeah.
A's. Like I was like, wait, so shit, I'm smart. Fuck.
Word.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
facts.
But that's actually when I decided to become a journalism minor because I sort of realized I was like, I'm the type of person that I don't like to be complacent. Like I know that there's always things I can be doing, always things I could be improving on. And so when the pandemic happened, once I got over the whole like, fuck, this sucks.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, maybe I should study for the LSAT. Like get a little head start. And I took one test on Khan Academy.
You wasn't playing with it.
Barely finished the test. I was just like,
dragging
all
it.
right,
Wasn't
this is
dragging
the dub.
Yeah.
Let me figure out what else I can do. And I was actually between like marketing and journalism.
Okay.
But at Georgetown, to be in marketing, you have to be in the business school. And I was like, all right, I'm not doing accounting. I'm not, that's not my field.
Right.
So I was like, let me do journalism. Like I said, I've always like really liked writing. I like interviewing people. I like talking to people. So yeah, I just started to pursue that and things kind of started doing internships.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Got you. And so how did you get specifically to Glamour Mag? And have you been there since graduation?
I have.
Okay, got you.
So this is I love telling this story because it's a very like kind of serendipitous, when it's your time type of situation. But basically the summer before, or the semester before my senior year, so I guess my junior spring, I was applying to internships. And mind you, Conde, if you know anything about Conde, they kind of got into like this lawsuit situation like earlier, like in the early 2000s. And so they stopped doing internships for like a long period of time. And Conde has always been a place that I wanted to work at. Like I always knew I wanted to kind of pursue like magazine journalism just because I feel like you can have more creative freedom there. And so one day at the time I was doing like an unpaid internship at a street paper in DC.
Okay.
So, I wasn't getting paid, but I was learning, but I wasn't getting paid.
That's how they pay you with the knowledge.
Yeah, you know what I mean? You know what I mean?
We're gonna pay you with the knowledge.
Exactly.
You have to hold that. Yeah,
exactly. And so I was on the work day or whatever, and I saw it and I was like, oh shit, Glamour Magazine, Condé Nast, they paying, like, this is it. Let me just apply. Mind you, like the people in my class had CNN internships, they had Politico internships, you know what I mean? Like the big names. And I was just kind of starting out because I had switched to journalism junior year. And so I applied, gave it a shot. I got an interview and I was like, okay, well shit, all right, maybe I got something. So I did the first interview, did the second interview. The third interview was with the editor-in-chief, Samantha Berry. Talked with her. I didn't get it. Long story short, I didn't get it. And I was devastated. And the way that I found out that I didn't get it is through LinkedIn. It was a Friday night. I remember I was on the couch and I was just scrolling and I saw, the person who got it, who's very deserving of it. Like she was being congratulated on it and it showed up on my feed. And I was like, damn, okay.
The fact
like,
that they could tell you before that you know what I mean?
They
couldn't tell you, yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was unfortunate to find out that way, but also it kind of quickened the process for me to also figure out, okay, what's the next step? Like I said, I don't like to be complacent. It's like, okay, like how can I improve, whatever. And something that I really like that they did is, I call her Sam because like now we're like close, but like at the time, Samantha Berry called me and she just gave me 5 minutes of her time and she was like, yeah, I just wanted to call because you were one of the top like 3 or 4 applicants. And I asked her, I was like, oh, like, why didn't I make it? Like what what were you looking for? And she was like, at this moment, we're looking for someone that just has more like video experience or something like that. And that's something that I just don't have. It's something that, quite frankly, I'm not interested in. And it's something that it kind of helped to know that, because it let me know it's not about my writing. It's not about me. It's literally just about the fact that they needed someone that has a certain skill set that I just don't have.
Fair.
So anyways, that was devastating. And then fast forward to a month before I graduate.
Okay.
Mind you, I'm going through my senior year. All my peers have their offers already and, you know, whatever. But with journalism and media, it's a different field, right? Like, you're not getting an offer in a year out. You're just not.
Yeah, very different than like engineering. Consulting, miles like a year out, but it's different. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like constantly applying. And the executive editor, Natasha Perlman, she reached out to me and she was like, oh, there's an editorial assistant position opening up. Rue, who was in the position before, is like, she's getting promoted, blah, blah, blah. If you want to apply, if you're still interested. I was like, fuck yeah. I was like, I don't have a job. This is Glamour Magazine at Condé Nast. It's in New York. Like, this is like, you know what I mean? It's a good starting salary, whatever, for me to be living at home. So I applied and, you know, I ended up getting it. And I think the fact that I had gone through the internship kind of process, I had met with all these people before, you know what I mean? So it was kind of nice to kind of bring it up and be like, oh yeah, I remember when we talked about that. And like, you know, sort of like, jogging their memory to be like, you know, we've talked before and like, you know me, you know what I mean?
Yeah, facts.
So yeah, I got my offer in July.
Post-graduation?
Post-graduation.
Yeah, that's a little scary.
So it was scary for sure. It wasn't
you graduated without it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it wasn't like,
tough.
oh, clutch. Like literally like maybe 2 days before graduation, I was doing like an edit test. Like that's pretty common for journalism jobs. So I was like working with my journalism teachers who were really nice to like give me feedback on like, how to improve. So I was doing that like 2 days before graduation. And then I started July 5th, 2022.
Wow. Oh, so you got the offer and then you started like that.
Well, yeah. I mean, I got the offer maybe like late June, like mid-June.
But still like a couple
But
weeks
yeah,
later.
Exactly.
Because I had my offer December like 1st-ish of 2018 and I started October 2019.
Oh, wow. Jeez.
Yeah, so I got it like the end of senior fall semester.
Okay.
But my start date, it wasn't until October. So I had this a summer at home.
Did they give that to you or did you ask for that?
There was a few different options, but I was like, I'm going to travel a little bit this summer.
Yeah.
So I went to like Spain, I went to England, I went to France as well. And it's like to have some more time at home. Because I'm from upstate New York. Like there's nothing up there.
Where in upstate you from?
Ithaca.
Oh.
Like there's nothing there.
Yeah,
so like I'm never going to work. I can't work from home and go to the office.
Yeah.
That's not it. There's no possibility.
Yeah,
I'm never going to get a job around there. Like of course there's things related to Cornell University, but like my career is never going to be in upstate.
No. Yeah.
So it's like, let me just spend some time with the family, a few extra months.
Yeah.
And it felt long because I'm like, damn, I've seen everybody starting their job, moving to the cities, but I'm so glad.
But now you're glad you did it.
Yeah. So it was a long wait, but it was worth it.
The crazy thing is they wanted me to start 2 weeks before I actually started.
God
and
damn.
I had to push back. Right. And I had to push back and be like, no, like I want to start July 5th. And because I knew I wanted to give myself as much time as I could to really just like be at home.
Where?
Like I had just finished college. Like that's just,
and once
like,
you start working, you don't stop working.
Right.
Bro.
Like,
my pops is like, nah, take your time. You do not need to rush into this.
Yeah.
So I'm glad it was like that. So now that you are an editorial assistant, what does your day-to-day look like? And for people that want to be in your position, what are some key skills you think they should have?
Yeah. Okay. Day to day. It usually starts off with, I have a check-in with my boss, Sam. It's like a 15-minute check-in every day. Sort of just go over like any emails that have come in for her or anything on her calendar that she needs to be aware of. And then usually she's allowed me to sit in on a lot of meetings, which being an editorial assistant is very dependent on your boss or who your manager is.
Okay.
You know, I know a lot of other people who do not have the same access that I have, and then I know people who have more access than I have. You know what I mean? And so so we start off with the check-in, and then maybe sit on a few meetings that I find interesting. Recently, I've been doing a lot of writing, which has been nice. So kind of spending my time just like interviewing, writing, you know. Sometimes it's a lot of like events as well. Like sometimes she'll be going to, either like a Condé Nast event or like an external event. She'd be like, oh, do you want to come?
Yeah.
And so I'll go along with her. Like when I first started, like she would go to these like screening, like movie premieres and stuff like that, or like TV show premieres.
So are you part of the WAG SAG, one of them things?
You mean the SAG after thing?
Isn't there like
the
the
union?
writers?
The writer? No.
Okay.
So that's for TV shows. So the union,
Okay.
yeah. So Condé Nast actually has our own union.
Okay.
Which we've actually, we actually spent like the last 2 years like fighting to get a contract. Yeah. We finally got a contract earlier this year. Shout out the union.
I know other people in editorial going through that shit too.
Yeah. So that's been really good to have, but it was interesting coming in because not only am I coming in post-pandemic, which kind of, as you talked about, you know, like it's a different world, right?
Sure.
Like pre-pandemic, you kind of got a sense of that, and then post-pandemic. So I'm coming in post-pandemic. The media landscape is completely different. Budgets are slashed. People are getting laid off. This is my first job. You know what I mean?
Throw
like,
in the fire,
this is the first job. This is the
fire.
first situation. And I'm like, oh shit, like, okay, cool, right? And honestly, when I first started, I didn't really know what a union was. Like, someone was just like, oh, like, you should be a part of this. Like, you want to join? I was like, okay, for the people.
Yeah,
like, all right, like, you know.
Get the picket signs up. You
right, like, all right.
Yeah,
and then, you know, shit really got real the last few months, last year. But yeah, no, I'm glad to say that it's worked out well. But honestly, every day is different. Every day is different, especially when there's big events coming up or holidays coming up or anything like that. In terms of skills that someone that's looking to be in this position should have, I would definitely say, you know, time management. I mean, that's for any position, but really time management, because not only are you managing your time, you're managing someone else's time. And that's like someone at a leadership position, an executive position, right? Where they can't afford to be late, and you need to allot like 15, 30 minutes before. Like I've had to look up like how long is it going to take her to get from Chicago airport to the hotel, you know what I mean? To plan like when her meeting is going to be, so she'll be at the hotel when it happens, you know, kind of thinking like that. Yeah, just organization, like spreadsheets, documents, knowing how to work G Suite. You know? Yeah.
Facts. And then speaking of that relationship with your boss, how is that and how has it been for you? Because I've heard good things about and we're going to get into, I've heard good things about the industry. I've heard some bad things about how some people are treated, but it sounds like you do have a good relationship with your boss, which is fire. So
yeah, no, I really will say, like, now that I've been there for a little over 2 years, I'm really grateful for the relationship that I have with her. She's very flexible in the ways that matter. But she's also just allowed me to just have opportunities. And I think as a young person at your first job, it's really important to have exposure. I think that's what this job has provided me the most with, is exposure to just like kind of like like another world, like sort of like, you know, where people, not even just like money, but like just like the different circles that people are in, like where people are getting reservations to restaurants and like, you know what I mean? Like, and now that I'm reaching out on her behalf, it's like, okay, now I kind of know you. You know what I mean? Now we cool. Like,
last table at Carbone, you
like, yo, like Polo Bar, what's up? You know? But yeah, like she's just really been like a nice advocate for me. And she's just really chill. You know what I mean? Which is nice.
That's rare. From what I've been hearing about what y'all girlies be going through, that shit's rare as fuck.
Yeah, I mean, and it's nice for the editor-in-chief to be chill. You know what I mean? Obviously there's office politics and like drama and whatever. But for me, at the end of the day, if I'm cool with the boss, like if she's good, I'm good. And that's really just what matters. Yeah.
Fire. So it sounds internally like you really enjoy everything that's been going on. In terms of all these events you've been to, these other places you are going, what's been like the reception at these places? Because I've heard, and I've been to a good amount of fashion events, honestly. I haven't seen it myself, but I hear from all the people I know in the industry just how catty it can be, the level of politics, the level of like you'll be talking behind someone's back and then that person comes up and they're all smiling saying hi, the level of gatekeeping sometimes with relationships. So like, it sounds like you internally at your position in Glamour Mag, it's been good. But outside, seeing kind of what's going on, what has been your view of the landscape?
I mean, actually, like so to be quite honest, because of that reason, I try not to get involved with that too much in terms of like the fashion week stuff, because you're right, it is very, I like the way that I kind of knew I wasn't interested in like fashion is because I'm just not that eager to go to the shows and be involved in the way that some other people are. And I think being in a position to see that is cool, because you're like, yo, shout out to you, because you actually like this shit. You know what I mean? And like I, you know, that's just not for me, but it's for you, and I love that. But you're right. I mean, Fashion Week is coming up, and that's already something I'm planning for my boss. She's the one that goes to, you know, all the events and stuff like that. I've been to a few shows. I mean, for the most part, I just try to like keep my head down. There's other people that I know that I'm like, okay, cool with, whatever. But I kind of want to go back to like internal though, just because I have a good relationship with my boss, but there's definitely things like at Conde that isn't always sunshine. You know what I mean? It's a corporation like anywhere else. And it's a lot of creatives, a lot of personalities, and not just on my team, but just generally at Conde. Sometimes I do wish there was a bit more community.
Okay.
I think when I first got there, it was a little difficult for me because I had come from a small creative agency in DC where I was doing, it's called Artemis Ward, where I was doing creative strategy work. And it was such an intimate community. It just felt I just felt so welcomed.
Yeah.
Like I felt like I was growing. And then I kind of came to Conde and it was like, people were still remote, people were still in person. Like it was this weird kind of environment, and it's just like I'm the youngest on the team, so there's that. Like we could talk about that, like what it's like being basically the only Gen Z person on the team, you know, and being a Black person on the team, right?
And a Black woman,
a Black, like, you know what I mean. And so so there's definitely difficulties, I think, in the time that I've been there. Thankfully, I found like a good group of people. It's really about finding that group of people, but it took time.
Yeah.
It really did.
And was it the negative interactions, did you feel like it was gatekeeping at times sort of situation, or?
I kind of.
Yeah.
I don't want to say that I thought it was intentional or not, but I think there is a level of paying your dues.
Okay, like they want you to suffer type shit?
Kind of. Yeah, as in like you just got here and like you shouldn't really have access to everything that I've been here for 10 years or whatever. Again, which is why I appreciate my boss so much, because she was the one that allowed me to be in certain spaces. And if it was up to other people, I probably wouldn't be in those rooms. But there's definitely been times where it's just like you feel kind of like unwelcomed, or times where you have to speak up for yourself and you have to be like, no, that was disrespectful, and like, there's a way to approach it, but you have to clock it. You have to. Like, don't play with me.
Don't play with it.
Everybody that knows, don't play with me. I promise you.
Nah, facts. Nah, because I've crazily enough, I've dealt with some gatekeeping already with Vino Vriday in terms of the event stuff. That's getting to specifics, but the level of like people thinking like they have some ownership over something, it's like, it's really crazy, bro. And we go farther together. Like I promise you, like, and the idea that you want people to have to have gone through what you went through is just not progressive at all. You should always want the person after you to be able to get it faster. Which is what makes you a cool OG. Is like, nah, I struggled for it, but I'm gonna help y'all get there faster.
But that's the thing.
And they don't want that, bro.
They're scared. There are so many people that are at the company that I feel like are scared of the new generation. That are scared.
It should be though.
Right, and you should be.
Y'all know media better, to be honest. Like we do.
Right, but also don't let that kind of prevent you from helping.
No, for sure.
From like,
for sure.
heralding that new wave of people. We not gonna get your job, and that's okay. Like I don't want your director job right now.
Facts.
But I would love to learn from you. I would love to work with you on certain things. I would
100%.
love you to take me under your wing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And what's strange about it too is like, to remain relevant and stay consistent, you actually need the younger people to be on your side. Exactly. Like the reason Drake's, I mean, he just got cooked. But besides that, the reason,
is Drake the one we want to reference right now?
Wait, besides him getting cooked,
yes,
you know what I'm saying? The reason he's had longevity with his career, he's always on top of whatever the new sound was. Right, he was making that song with Wizkid one day in
Yep.
2016 when Afro
Yep.
was not the norm, bro. You go outside, I mean, I was in college at the time, but you wasn't hearing Afro everywhere unless you was like really with the African people type
Yep.
shit. And then it turned into the Caribbean, then turned to the UK sound, and then it turned into the house type music. Then it was the Jersey club. Like, you gotta, like, instead of hating on the young people, being tapped in with them as somebody who's older and more experienced is actually gonna add longevity.
Evolve and bring them in. And
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just so negative to like the level of gatekeeping, the level of, oh, but I went through this, and it's like that doesn't actually help anyone.
That doesn't serve anybody.
Yeah, nah, big facts. But aside from what you're doing at Glamour, we talked a little bit before having our own mini podcast
Yes.
off mic, that you're into a lot of other stuff as well, and you have some passions that you're interested in pursuing outside of kind of the corporate world.
Yeah.
So if you want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, where do I be? I mean, we talked about reality dating shows.
Yeah, let's get into it because I'm ready to talk about that.
I mean, okay, so kind of as we talked about,
Yeah.
I did my senior thesis at Georgetown. So I was an American Studies major at Georgetown. Amazing program. It was like 25 of us in the small, but it was great because while we had a few like core classes you had to take, they actually your entire junior year was kind of set up so that you could study abroad.
Fire.
Now,
Did you study abroad?
I didn't because it was COVID.
Damn,
so I did not.
Yeah, I'll say I studied abroad my junior year.
Where'd you go?
Madrid. Yeah, and I'm half Spanish, so that gave me a really chance to like connect with my other half. So that was hella cool. Yeah,
I was thinking for me it was like either Amsterdam because I had been there. Thankfully, I did my own kind of like Euro trip 2019.
Okay.
So I went to Amsterdam and I really loved it. And I was
Fire.
like, okay, like they speak English, you know what I'm saying? Like I could get with it. So I was thinking about there, or I was like, let's go all the way to let's go to Singapore. So that was another place I was thinking. And then I was also like, maybe we go down under. We
Australia?
go to Australia.
I know a lot of people that went there.
Or South Africa.
Wow. Okay.
Unfortunately, none of those happened.
Yeah.
But one day it will.
Now you
Anyone
good.
wants to
You
fly
got
me
time.
out.
Yeah.
If brands want to fly me out, let me know.
Right.
But yeah, so I did a senior thesis on reality dating shows and the way that Black women are portrayed on those shows. I focused on Rachel Lindsay, who's the first Black bachelorette, and she actually has a podcast with Van Lathan, which is really good.
Oh, she was a bachelorette?
Yeah.
Because I be seeing shit from that podcast. I had no idea who she was. I mean, I knew she was like she is a media person, but I didn't know like she stemmed from
Yeah,
bachelorette.
and she's a lawyer too. I don't know if she still has her license or whatever, but like when you watch her season, she started off as a lawyer. Her dad's a judge.
Wow.
And then she went on the show, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think reality shows,
Dating specifically?
is such an interesting look into society.
Oh, it is.
Like it's just
You see
like
everything.
you know what I
Like,
mean. It's such a reflection of our society. But also as we talked about, like with Love Is Blind UK, I kind of had to take a step back and be like, okay, maybe I won't watch this right now.
Yeah.
Because I unfortunately, Black women are not sometimes either aren't portrayed well on these shows or they're not given the light that they deserve. And as a Black woman myself, it's just not nice to see that all the time. It's not good for your psyche in general to see that kind of content. And I also don't want to, how much do I want to feed into and give them views? You know what I'm saying? Like by me watching, I'm actively feeding into what they're doing. You know what I mean? So I kind of took a step back from that. But Love Island USA.
Fire.
I've written a few articles about it.
You went viral with that shit, actually. So a little clap up to you.
Thank
That shit was
you.
fire. Yeah.
It was, it just, honestly, I think what really stood out, and those people who are like Love Island fans or just reality dating shows in general, that these shows are not diverse. And they tend to be, there's that one Black girl. And
there's always that one
unfortunately, there's a lot of comments about her hair or her skin tone or whatever, and she's not picked. And like for this season of Love Island, the casting, I want to meet the casting director. I'm not gonna lie, because I just want to be like, thank you and props to you because you did what you're supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? You didn't make this a Black show. You know what I'm saying? No one's asking for. There are Black shows out there. I'm not asking for that. But make it representative of not only the society we live in, but like actual dating experiences. And there's Black men that love Black women. There's white men that love Black women, vice versa. Like it's not a monolith.
Facts.
And I feel like sometimes, especially with Love Island UK, which is kind of what I talk about in my article, they feed into those sort of stereotypes and monoliths, which is just unfair.
Mm-hmm. So what do you like the most about this Love Island USA season, aside from just the casting and the level of like proper diversity that's been there?
Apart from that, I think just everything. I think the producers did honestly an
they went
amazing
crazy.
job
They went
of
crazy.
like the challenges that we had, just like the way that the cast interacts with each other is iconic. I mean, they're still on a media like trek right now. They have a reunion coming out on Sunday, I think.
Oh, fire.
And yeah, I just think it was the perfect group of people to put together that made magic.
Yeah.
I really, really think they did their big
100%.
one.
Word.
As Leah would say.
Facts. Thoughts on Casa Amor and what happened there?
Okay. I think in general, like the Casa Amor girls, not to shit on anybody, but I do think they were a little like lame.
Oh shit, okay.
Obviously I know like Aaron and Kaylor had Aaron was with Kaylor.
Yeah.
And then Aaron had a situation with Daniela.
Yeah.
I'm glad it happened. I'm
Okay.
glad Casa Amore's a thing because that's what happens when you put respectfully single men who are maybe not prepared to commit or who are too emotionally immature around beautiful women, because they're beautiful women. And he I think didn't know how to communicate, didn't know how to, honestly, I think he took Kaylor for granted.
Definitely.
And that's a whole nother topic. I can't wait for the reunion. I really can't, because
I
saw that they're not together anymore, which thank God. But like, girl, like how, and even in that, like, so when he came back from Casa Amor, right?
Yeah.
He was like, she saw the video of them, like, but she didn't see the full video. Like, that's how Love Island did. Remember they like clipped it, so like she only saw a little bit,
and she was still bawling, crying about it. Little did you know.
Exactly. And then movie night happened, right, where you saw more
Speaking
of it.
The producers, they went crazy with that. Too good. Like it was actually perfect.
What show is doing it like
for
them? Like,
it was
you know
perfect.
what I mean?
It was perfect. Yeah.
So anyway, so she sees all that, right? Then he pulls her to the side. He's like, "I love you," and she's like, "Oh my God, I love you too." I'm like, girl. Like, but at one hand, it's like, girl, stand up. But the other hand, it's like, we've all been there. You know what I mean? It's like I myself, I've been there. I have girlfriends that have been there. And so it's like, I understand you, but also I need you to really pick it up. I need you to really clock in here. I need us to get it together. But obviously I'm hopeful that she has gotten it together. But I would also like to touch on Serena and Cordell.
I was about to ask.
I can't go without touching on the winners.
Winners.
Yeah. No, again, like, just so, this was a perfect, like, relationship to show Black love. Like, Black love in a way that you just don't see it shown on TV, but that we see every day. You know what I mean? If you know Black people, you see Black love. Yeah. But, like, you just don't see that on TV. And I think, you know, I understood Cordell pursuing Daya because, and I'm sure Serena will agree, she was not giving him a lot.
Facts.
You know what I mean? I think everyone can agree. I was frustrated with Serena at times because I was like, damn, you don't like this nigga, then just say that.
Yeah, word.
If you don't like him, just tell him.
And when she walked away on the little dance floor thing, I was like, damn.
I had to pause it. Like, I was just like, no. I was like, come on,
Serena. What's going on?
You know what I mean? Like, just, so many moments before Casa Amor that I was just breaking for Cordell.
Yeah.
But also there's a lot of things that we don't see. There's a lot of things that they don't show us. And, you know, now we're kind of finding out that they had moments where she would braid his hair. And, like, that's kind of...
Before Casa, Serena to Cordell.
Gotcha, like, that's why his hair was still looking that good, because she's a hairdresser. Like, so she does hair.
I would say, who's braiding his hair?
Right,
they got niggas
she was braiding that nigga's hair.
That's hilarious.
And that's why when he came back from Casa Amor, she kind of made a comment of, like, I hope she can do hair. because
didn't
she
even
was
see
like,
that.
and that's why after that you saw him kind of wearing his fro out because he didn't know how to
Yeah.
do nothing else.
I was like, nigga, get your braids back if they got a braider out there.
Right.
Yeah, that's
no,
mad
they didn't have
funny.
nothing for him. And I think
funny.
I've really loved also the way that Cordell has defended Serena when people, especially like, I know Kendall made a comment about her kind of being like, you know, the undertones of being aggressive and like, oh, like who would want a woman like that or whatever.
Yeah.
When she was kind of going off on him. And it's like, first of all, if I'm going off on you, that means I care.
That's fair.
That means I care.
Yeah.
And Serena, from the first few episodes that we saw, she was very cool, calm, collected. You know, she was not crying like Kayla and all this type of stuff. So if you can flip my emotion like that,
Yeah.
and now I'm storming all over the place and cursing you out,
she was.
you know you fucked me up. Like, you know what I mean? And
Facts.
he knew that because Cordell, you could just tell he date black women. He know the vibe. He know what's up. And he was just like, nah, like you go off. Like, I'm going to be here. Like, I'm going to be here. Let's talk. Whatever. I did think her like throwing the.
I was gonna ask you about the breakfast. That was OD, bro.
That was OD.
He was there like a sad puppy. I was like, all right, yo, it wasn't that crazy. Y'all not officially together. Like,
yeah,
you might be doing a lot now.
I did think that was OD. I didn't like that. But fuck it. Like fuck it.
There's
she did it.
To it. Okay.
Yeah, she did it, but he like stuck with it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, would I do that? No. But I actually appreciate her for. What I respect about that moment and what I respect about her is that she knew how she felt and she made sure Cordell knew how she felt. And Cordell reciprocated in the way that he wanted to reciprocate, which was by, you know, talking with her and kind of asking for forgiveness. And that's the way that their relationship decided to go. They seem happy now.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of times women, especially young women, we feel a lot of things and we don't express it. And that's how a lot of situationships happen. You know, a lot of shit happens.
That's real shit. That's real shit. Do you think he played Daya at all?
No.
In the process? No? Okay.
I think when he came back from Casa Amor, he could have been a little bit more clear about, you know, how he was basically not feeling her and he was really trying to pursue Serena. Like there was just like one or two moments where I think he kind of Daya came to him and was like, you know, they were having a conversation and that would have been the moment for him to be like, oh, like I actually want Serena and like props, like good looks. But like he didn't. But yeah.
Okay. Got you. So aside from reality TV, other passions that you like to talk about or that you're interested in pursuing?
Other passions. So yeah, another thing that we talked about was so I actually work as a server at Cafe Erzulie.
Gang.
Okay.
Gang. Best bottom brother, stop fucking playing your word.
Yes.
814 Broadway, I think I got that right. 841.
Yes, 841 Broadway.
841.
But yeah, it's a really nice Haitian spot in Bushwick, right off Myrtle Broadway. We do jazz nights on Wednesday, Thursdays, which I serve at. It's really good. Come through 7 to 11 p.m. But then on the weekends, they have the club night. They have the DJs, like iconic DJs, you know, Mike Nasty, Soup, like celebrity DJs. We talked about how Brent was there. Like
Kendrick Lamar
was there.
Wild,
like,
wild,
you know what I mean? Like, I think it's what's special about it. It's just it's like an intimate space, which sometimes is, you know, it get a little hot. If you've been there, you know it get a little hot.
Yeah.
But it has that like intimacy and just that like casualness that you want from like a kind of like down the block vibe. You know what I mean? That's still gonna have good music, still gonna have good drinks, still good vibes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, no, in general, I'm interested in doing a lot more like brand and community partnerships. I feel like I have a lot of I'm very good at talking to people and sort of like bridging different gaps and sort of like being in the know and sort of just making those connections is really important to me. I've always been interested in like doing shit for the Black community. Like if you look at any of the papers that I did in school, any of the projects that I was a part of, I was editor-in-chief of the first all-Black media group at Georgetown as well.
Talk about it. Yeah.
And like that it was all for us. Like I'm really just trying to do shit for us. And like even at Glamour, like the articles that I'm really interested in, even the Love Island piece, like the lens was diversity. It was the Serena and Cordell, you know what I mean? But yeah, so I'm only 2 years into my career, so I'm still figuring it out. But as of right now, I think that's a passion that could fulfill like my like sort of that part of me that wants to do shit with the community, but also make money.
Yeah, no.
You know what I
for
mean?
Sure.
So
Absolutely. Yeah. And when you say community and these sort of like brand partnerships and whatnot, are you saying mostly like in the event space and like activating a place?
Yeah,
Okay,
I mean, I
gotcha.
think I've always had an interest in events, but even
Yep.
in my time at Glamour, you know, we put on our tentpole event is Women of the Year Awards. It's actually coming up in like 2 months.
Fire.
So right now it's like kind of we're getting into that hectic moment, but throughout the year we do other smaller intimate events like dinners with celebrities and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And just being able to be a part of like curating in-person events and
Yeah.
seeing what comes out of that. It just makes me want to do that more, but
Yeah.
like with us.
Word.
And so I think we're seeing that everywhere. I mean, I know you do a lot of stuff, a lot of like in-person events, and you're working with a lot of different brands, and you're seeing how you're kind of bringing different audiences together
Yeah.
to like put out something, you know.
For
what I
sure.
mean?
Listen, I can use some help with Vino Vriday on
Yeah,
this shit
bro,
by
okay, I
myself, bro.
mean,
we gotta talk for real.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I gotta say a big shout out to Cafe Erzulie because like speaking of doing things for the community, like they really are for the community.
Yeah.
I think it was only my second ever public Vino Vriday was at Cafe Erzulie just for the fact that they allow people to bring in like whatever creative projects they have to the space. And not just that, but they're also like even conscious of the fact that financially you might be at a different standpoint than somebody who's doing a Hennessy sponsored open bar. You know what I mean? So like they really are bringing in people and trying to build them up. And like shout out Mark reaching out to me to bring me back to the spot and everything. So like some people talk about being for the community and everything like that, but Cafe Erzulie to me is like a genuine physical representation of that.
Yeah.
And ever since I've like been coming to Brooklyn the last few years, whatever it's been, like they've proven it, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, and again, like I feel like not only is it the physical space that people like, but it's that people see that within it, and you know it separates it from other places in Brooklyn, other kind of venues that may not have that same vibe.
100%. And so you bartend when you're there working.
I
correct?
serve.
You serve, okay. So what's that experience been like as a server?
It's been interesting. It's been very eye opening.
Okay.
Like I really think everyone should do it at
That's
some
what people
point.
say. That's what
Like
people say,
I
low-key.
really,
Yeah.
it's such a different like. And now anytime I go to a restaurant or I'm served by someone, it's like I just have a different perspective in terms of, like let's say I might not get the most pleasant experience. I'm not as quick to just be like, oh, like
0% tip. Like,
you know what I mean? Like I would always tip, but
Of course.
I just have a bit more perspective and clarity on like really don't know what's going on in your life. You know what I mean? And like we really don't make a lot, and you really put in a lot of hours. And like, you know, when you see the server at whatever time you get there, they've probably been there 2 to 3 hours before you saw them setting up. And especially at Cafe Erzulie, you know, it's a smaller establishment. It's big, but it's still small in terms of like who we have. And so, you know, there's a lot of things that we do that's just kind of helping out all the different areas. And then, you know, when things are over, it's not over for us. We still have to close up, and we have to close out checks and like do tips. And like there's a lot of, you know, we may not leave until an hour after it's closed. And yeah, so it's been a really good experience. Shout out to everyone in the industry. Like I have so much respect.
For sure. And I think like speaking of like serving and everything, I feel like one of the ways to tell how kind of a human being somebody is how they treat servers.
Yeah.
Because when people tweak out over like the smallest little things, let's say they brought the wrong wine or the wrong order, like people can get so disrespectful.
Yeah.
And it's like, bro, the shit can be back in 2 minutes. They're not going to charge you like it's
Bro,
cool.
you want to
like,
hear a funny story? I'm not going to say the name of the restaurant because whatever.
Yeah.
But
go ahead.
so maybe a few months after I started working at Erzulie, I went with one of my coworkers. She's actually a DJ, Miss Lily. Shout out to her.
Okay. I need to book you.
Amazing female DJ. But we went to a restaurant and the server spilled wine on me, like on jeans, like on my
Red wine?
Thankfully, it wasn't red
Okay,
wine.
white
It was
wine.
white, but still, like,
No, of
spilled
course,
a whole
of course.
cup of like white wine
Yeah.
on my jeans, and I basically had to sit there because we just got there. Like,
Yeah,
I had
yeah.
to sit there with wet.
And jeans don't dry fast.
You
either,
know what
so
I
it's
mean?
like,
You know
might
what
get
I
a rash
mean?
later, you know what I'm saying?
But it was just like, but I was like, no, it's okay. Like, you could tell she was maybe like a bit newer, a bit more nervous. And when I first started, I made mistakes. I still make mistakes.
Yeah.
And so I didn't want to make this like a whole big thing. I wasn't gonna be like, oh, let me talk to your manager. Like there's certain people that's
Yeah.
oh, like the amount of people that I've seen, like you also as a server, you just interact with so many different people.
I'm sure.
And it's very interesting the way that sometimes I think I'm like, would you treat me differently if you knew the other job that I had?
That's the biggest part.
You know?
Yeah, that's
like if
the
you
biggest
knew
part.
that I was rubbing shoulders with certain people or work
though.
at a certain building, would you treat me the same way as you treat me? Because I'm also not going to be like, the first thing I say is not, oh, like I work at Glamour Magazine.
Yeah.
Like I'm a server right now.
Yeah.
Like, and if we talk and you get to know me, I'll say I'm a writer,
Mm-hmm.
and then everyone's like, oh my God. Like,
Yeah,
you know, but
yeah.
like, why does that matter though?
And it shouldn't matter at all.
Like,
yeah.
You know, so
100%. So how'd you react to the wine being spilled?
Oh, I was
took the
like,
L?
yeah, I was
Yeah,
like,
it is what it is. That shit like.
I was like, girl, it's okay.
Yeah.
And then she gave me like a free wine. I was like, she
Yeah.
really should have like comped some shit, but it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. At the time, I didn't know, and it was like whatever.
Word.
But yeah, I just
Got you. No bad stories being a server?
I mean, there's plenty of bad stories, but yeah, I can't think of any off the top of my head.
Okay, that's good. Got you. Well, one piece of Vino Vriday is, of course, the music component of it. And part of the reason I started this whole thing was that I feel like R&B needs to be seen as a genre that has new music. You go to an R&B party, I don't know if you've noticed, the first thing you're going to hear is Usher, and then you're going to hear Keisha Cole, and then you're going to hear Fantasia, and then it's going to be Omari and Ice Spot, you know what I'm saying, all that shit. And I'm like, bro, where's the respect and the love for the new age R&B, as I put on the flyer, artists?
Who would you?
Go ahead.
Who would you consider new age?
Oh, I would say like
SZA.
mid Janae onward is new age.
Okay.
So you got Janae, you got SZA, you got Summer Walker on the women's side,
okay,
men's side, Bryson Tiller, Party Next Door, Bryant Fires, Tory Lanez before the shooting.
Right.
Before the shooting. No more.
Yeah.
He's very, very canceled.
Yes.
Don't play him in my shit, DJs. But I know that you're a little bit into that genre. At least some bit. So like, who are some new age R&B artists that you fuck with?
Ooh, I love Snow Allegra.
Okay, she's special. She's
I mean, and she's not like, you know, everyone knows her.
Yeah.
At this point, but I went to a concert.
I've seen her twice.
She's
different.
Like,
she's different.
Amazing. Oh my gosh, I discovered her during the pandemic. After that, and Michael B. Jordan, he was in that video.
Oh, the video, facts.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, I saw it on Twitter. I was like, who's this ambiguous woman with a black man with Michael B. Jordan? Who's this?
Word.
And so that's when I got into her, and you know, it's a type of, I went back in her catalog, like I really, really like her music. Obviously SZA's a good one.
SZA's crazy.
Summer Walker is also really good. I have it's funny because with a lot of these people, it's like you have key moments when you listen to them, you know what I mean? That kind of takes you back. It's like sometimes I can't listen to you all the time because you're going to take me back to that
dark.
moment.
Yeah, it's
you're going to take me back to when I was crying over a nigga, but I appreciate you for the moment. You know what I mean? Love Brand. I know, you know, Toxic King. But
You're not even toxic.
But I love him. I really do. Again, went back in his catalog. A man actually put me onto him, which is so funny. But yeah,
that's all the signs you needed. If he's giving you Brent,
you know what I mean. Like honestly, I'm like, wait, that's the one thing I took from this like little situation that I actually appreciate.
Isn't that funny?
But yeah, there's a lot of good music I've been listening to. I also really like my friend who's from the West Coast put me onto Larry June.
Fire! I love West Coast music.
Yeah, like I'm about to be really into it.
No,
like,
it's out here. Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like he just came out with an album. There's a couple good songs.
That shit mega. Yep.
And then of course, like I'm a big fan of like the Afrobeat scene. Like I just think it's like I really like to move, and I feel like a lot of like in this new day and age, a lot of people don't like to move. And I'm just like, let's dance, like let's have
That's
a good
real.
time.
Yeah,
like you know what I mean. I feel like
the
Afrobeats kind of brings that out in people.
100%.
So like Asake just came out with an album that's really good. He has a song, I think it's Travis, called Active.
With Travis. Interesting enough. Wow.
That's really, really good. I think he also has Central C on the album too.
Okay.
There's a kind of a different
He's
album.
tapping into some other
but
people,
it still has that, like, it's still core to who he is.
Yeah. No, I think like the influx of Afrobeat to the US has like completely changed American nightlife, at least in like the Northeast. I can't speak for Atlanta. I can't speak about maybe the West Coast, but like it's made parties dancier. Right. And I feel like at least in Brooklyn when I'm outside, I don't feel that boring, bougie section vibe, stand around, big chains and kind of, which I feel like has become the super Southern vibe. I mean, Jordan, I know you're from Atlanta. Everything is a section. It's like, bro, niggas be getting sections to get a burger. Like, it's crazy, bro. Like,
yo. It wasn't always like that.
Yeah.
You can't hear me, but like,
okay.
Let them know that I said it's
it wasn't always like that, bro.
That's what Jordan's saying.
Word. I heard Houston kind of like that. Yeah. They be having the bottle wars and shit.
I saw a
I'm
TikTok.
just so over that shit.
I saw a
though, like-
TikTok that was like, this girl from Atlanta
Mm-hmm.
was talking about how she pulled up to a crab boil or something like that, and they was telling her that she needs to get
Y'all
a
niggas
section
getting
for a
sections
crab
at a
boil,
crab boil is
and she was like, "I'm not getting a section for a crab." Like she was like, "This is not like no, we don't need a section for every place that we go to. Like it's not that serious." And
The
I
South
went
is
to earlier this year. I went to Miami for the first time actually.
Maybe
with
like
a
that?
couple of girlfriends,
Word.
and it was such like a different experience.
Different,
like
bro. Yeah.
just the fact that like you had to have a promoter to get in. Like they was like, "Where's your promoter?" And we're like, "We don't have one." Like,
Yeah,
and
they
then
be
like
walking
they,
in
but
20
then they
random
brought
girls, yeah.
someone out to get us to bring us to a section, and I was
Word.
just like in New York, like you could pull up like just your
You
girls,
just
like
walk
just
into
walk.
the party. I have a ticket, nigga.
You
Like,
know what I
I'm
mean?
saying?
Like, or you
bro.
don't. You know
Or
what
you
I
don't.
mean?
You
Like,
just
and that's
come in, yeah.
fine. Like,
Yeah.
but to need like a promoter or someone
It's
to
mad
bring you
weird,
to
bro.
a section is very interesting. And then when you go in there, it's all girls. It's all girls. Like
Yeah.
when I was at that club, it was like maybe 5 guys, and they were the promoters,
Yeah.
or like the one guy with the section. And I was like,
It's mad weird.
interesting.
And you don't even know the person. They're just like dragging you to it. Like, am I a pawn right now
No.
to make these niggas look cool? I don't know this
Bro.
nigga, bro. He did not invite.
Bro, like
that's
we went
crazy,
to, I don't know
bro.
if you know it, Vendome. I don't know if it's
I think I've heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was
is it
like
live one of those type. is it one of those
yeah,
type
I guess
places?
so. Yeah, I don't even know. But
Yeah.
like, we moved like 3 times within the club. Like, and then eventually
They
we got-
moved you?
Yeah, like they were like first we started at the top, like at the kind of by the entrance.
Yeah.
And then we moved like they were like, "Oh, you want to come?" And I was like, "Oh, let's go." Then we like went to the middle of the floor, and then we made some contacts, and then we got into like a little section. But it was just like, damn, you really just moving around
Yeah.
in the club, listening to,
Instead of just like partying.
but no Afro beats,
Of course not.
no R&B. It was giving very much like
A lot of that shit, I feel like, is just ego based to be seen for Instagram, and that's not a good time, bro.
Yeah.
Also, it's not that special to be in the club with bottles.
I agree.
You know what I mean? Like, that's not like, oh, wow, yo, this nigga was in the, like, bro.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. So I
Yeah.
don't know why people be like that. So now I gotta say, one time I just put on myself, I was like, yo, Brooklyn is more fun than Miami.
I agree.
Like,
I agree.
Like, it's actually more fun all the time, every weekend, like 4 days a week if you're one of those people.
Yeah.
Like, you can have a good time anywhere, bro. You can. Bushwick, they got club by club by club by club. Bed-Stuy has mad places.
could just
mad
walk down- the
bars.
thing is, like, about New York,
Williamsburg
you
has
walk-
OD spots, and you can walk.
Bro, just walk down the street. You gonna find Cafe Erzulie,
Boom.
Native across the street,
All of that.
Art Bar,
Come on.
fucking Bossa Nova. You got fucking House of Yes at Jefferson.
Mm-hmm.
Like just off the Jefferson stop, you got Lot
Facts.
45, Lovejoy's, like
Red Pavilion,
elsewhere,
mad
right
place,
there.
Elsewhere,
Like,
be
come
having
on,
beach
don't get me
parties.
started.
Yeah, nah, Brooklyn got it, bro, and none of it's bougie. Like all of it is just like pull up and have a good time. There's no sections.
You
there's
can
no
wear your
whatever.
sneakers or you can wear your
Facts.
heels.
No one's checking dress code. Yo,
No way.
actually, speaking of me
Yeah.
wearing this shirt, I was just in Chicago. Shout out Nivea Men for flying us out first class.
Shout out.
Time of my life, bro.
First class.
Oh, for real.
Insane.
And for Real Madrid,
Delta.
my dream team.
Okay.
It was
Ah.
Yo, so I was wearing this top. Shout out Daily Paper. That's gang.
That's a cool
With just like some black denim and then my McQueen sneakers. And mind you, it was a Tuesday night, and this club was completely empty. And we're like waiting in line, whatever, like with some of the PR people and everything. And the guy comes up to me and he's like, "Oh yeah, no sleeveless around here," or something like that. I was
No
like,
sleeveless?
and I started laughing because I thought he was
Sleeveless?
joking, like I was wearing a jersey or something. And then he came back, he's like, "Yeah, we'll let you in or whatever, but next time make sure you have sleeves." I'm like,
What? I thought he was gonna come for the sneakers.
nigga, I'm wearing like a Afro fashion for designer, like not that it's super expensive or anything, but like this is like some fashion shit. Nigga, like what?
But also at that point, what's the point? Like what's
Yeah.
the reasoning?
But sleeveless,
What is sleeveless gonna?
who cares, bro? And even if it was a straight up basketball jersey, also who cares? And your club's empty.
Right.
And there's no one in the bro. I was like, nah.
The club was empty and they were still trying.
No, completely empty. Like maybe there was like 2 dudes at the bar, but at one point it was actually us and nobody else. Like literally nobody else. I'm like, you was about to, bro. We just made y'all money.
Damn.
I ain't paid for nothing, obviously.
Right, but
You know,
Nivea
the
did.
brand
Right,
money, the brand.
right, okay.
I ain't
But at the
even
end of the day, you getting a cut. They getting a cut,
facts,
and so
facts.
like you better let. Me
I was like, bro, and it's like just that vibe. The idea of even a dress code at a
And
club
I was
to
in
me is so
Chicago. I've
crazy.
never been to Chicago.
Yeah,
so I don't know what
it's a cool city. Like I had a good time outside of that.
Yeah.
And like it's beautiful architecture and everything.
Yeah.
I think it's the third biggest city in the country. but it's a lot more dense than LA. So I'd say it's the second biggest like metropolitan I can walk around kind of vibe with
Like
the
after
train,
New
like New York. So
Okay.
it's a mad cool city and everything. But that was just like one weird ass experience. I'm like, bro, what? We still doing that in 2024?
Like,
Also, like the most expensive shit, not even to talk about money, is like sneakers be more expensive than dress shoes.
oh, for sure.
Bro, Amiri sneakers is gonna cost you more than like
For
some
sure.
fucking Aldo.
But and then that's the thing. So
Like,
like,
it's
what
not
are
even-
we evaluating this based on? Like based
Word.
on like how much things actually cost, therefore how
Yeah.
much I'm going to spend here, or
No.
just based on arbitrary shit like
Yeah.
sleeves.
Yeah. It was so weird, bro. I'm
Like
my
that's
sleeves, bro.
insane. I've
Yeah.
never heard of
I
that.
thought it was so strange. And like, it's one thing if it's a jersey, but like, bro, it's a sweater vest. Like,
It's fashionable, but
Yeah.
but you see the thing is, and that's the thing about New York is that
Yeah.
we like other places just don't understand.
yeah. I thought
us.
Chicago might know though. And
You know what I
let me
mean?
not say
No,
it's
no,
a Chicago
like,
thing.
no,
It was
shout out
that
to
one place.
Chicago.
It was
Shout
that
out
one
to
place. It was that
Chicago.
one place. Yeah.
But the scene is just different here, and
Facts.
it's just like people people dress differently, people act
Niggas wear
differently.
whatever, bro.
But
Shit we see on the train daily isn't like.
and it's gonna hit. Like
Yeah,
it's gonna
facts.
hit. Like everybody's wearing their thing.
Word.
Like no one's like, I'm never like, oh, like I'm like, maybe that's not for me, but it looks good on them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I just thought that was so strange. So now shout out Brooklyn nightlife. So any favorite spots besides Cafe Erzulie? And refill, you good? You want some more?
I was just about to ask. I was like, wait, can we do a little pour? It's Portuguese wine. Okay, you know what I'm saying. Yeah, you finished that off. Okay. Other favorite spots. Yeah, no. Shout out to Cafe Erzulie. I mean, even though I work there, I really do like just go in there to like
Word.
party because it's really that vibe. Damn.
She don't really be outside, yo. She's a fraud. No,
No, I just be thinking about the places that I don't really fuck with.
we
But
can talk about it.
okay.
We can talk about it.
Okay. Lot 45.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Damn.
I just
burnt out.
the line is too long and I am not I'm not feeling it. I like the the indoor outdoor like the cafe like a food truck situation that they have, but I just feel like the people there are always weird. I'm a vibe people too.
Okay.
Like a vibe energy situation. Shemansky before it shut down,
You didn't like.
didn't like it.
Okay, talk
No.
about it.
Because I felt like that was one of the first places that I went to. I feel like that's the first place a lot of people go to
Yeah.
when they come to New York. It's
For
like
sure.
the most popular, like big venue, kind of section-y, whatever place.
Yeah.
And I just felt like, you know, because it's so big, sometimes, especially when it doesn't fill up, it's not as fun. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the security, like, they just be on some extra shit, like on some like, not even to be like, oh, yo, let me in, but like, bro, like, let me in.
But also let
You
me
know what I
in.
mean?
Facts.
But you got to get through the first one. Then you
Yeah.
got to get through the second one.
Niggas
Then the
wild.
girls be at the tickets, and the girls is not fucking with you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
shout out to girls, but like, you know what I mean? Like, if it's a guy, maybe. And
Yeah.
then you got to get in. Then you get the wristband, whatever.
Yeah.
And then it used to be cool because you could go from Shemansky to Bar Shimmy.
Yeah. Connect this shit.
Right?
Yeah.
But then like the last 2 or 3 times that I went, they were mad strict about if you had a ticket to Bar Shimmy, you can go to Shemansky,
Yeah.
vice versa. And I'm like, that was the whole kind of nice part of it. Was
Yeah.
kind of being able to like go to the different vibes, like the different DJ sets.
Mm-hmm.
They also don't take Amex, which I think is weird. And they
What?
don't take Apple Pay.
What?
Yeah.
I haven't been in a long time.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think like January 2023 for Josh's birthday. I have a crazy memory. That's the last time I was there.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's-
And they just they closed.
They closed,
Not
yeah.
permanently, but like
I think they're
a
doing a
few
little
months or some
revamp
shit.
or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think I just prefer like more intimate space. I really like Elsewhere.
That was mad cool. I like the multi-floor vibe. I love a multi-floor vibe, bro. You get to pick your thing. You be in the crowded area, then go back to like the chillest spot. You got the rooftop as well. They curate that shit
And I
really
think, you know,
well.
we talked about the wristband. If y'all don't know, the wristband, like that's the first
That'll
place
get you
that
to
I've
spend, bro.
ever like
What?
experienced that. Like, so basically you go in and on the ground floor, once you check in, you could, there's like these little kiosks
Mm-hmm.
and you could get these wristbands connected to your credit card. And so that when you go up to the bar, you just, and you just pay like that. Like you don't have to pull out your card, you don't have to pull out your phone.
Nothing.
You just boop, boop, boop. And it's dangerous.
It's mad dangerous. What?
As
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people.
What?
But
I mean that bitch. Yo, shots for everybody. I'm gonna fuck nigga.
Right. 200.
200.
Right.
It's just my wrist. I'm
No,
good.
literally. And once you're drunk, you're on that rooftop
Give
for
a
how
fuck.
many hours?
Yo,
It's
take
like,
my bracelet. It's fine.
bro, like keep it. Like
Right,
at
keep
that
it.
point, like if you see me, just tap it for me. But yeah, like it's just, I think it's just such an innovative like technology.
It is.
Also,
It's smart as fuck. Financially, like, yeah, that's they tapped into human psychology.
Like-
Because Apple Pay already feels like you're not really paying.
Right.
So now I have my wrist be the payment.
Right.
And I didn't tap nothing. I didn't even see the image of my card. Niggas is buying whatever, bro.
Like you
They
know
smart,
what I mean?
yeah.
So I think that's such like so ingenious.
Mm-hmm.
And you know we talked about like South House parties.
Yeah.
Shout out to South House, which is really nice, and they do a lot of their parties elsewhere, and they like separate kind of like. One sort of genre of music is maybe on the rooftop, and
Mm.
there's another one in the main hall, and like that's why I think elsewhere is so good is because it has those different spots.
Yeah.
I like the Sultan Room. South House used to do a lot.
Shout out Sultan
Yes.
Room. I forgot about them.
Sultan Room is.
I've been
nice.
there recently, or not recently, but I did a party there. Shout out Samples and Friends. You ever heard of that party?
No.
So Samples and Friends is a mad cool event. So what they do is they'll play. It's a game show essentially, right? And shout out the comedian who's like the host. He's funny as fuck. They'll have a person on each side, like me and you, and we'll have a buzzer. And they'll play a song, let's say from the 70s or 80s, and it's the sample of a song by, let's say, Jay-Z or Chris Brown or whoever. And then you hit the buzzer after like they play like 10 seconds to guess whose sample it is. And then you see if you get it right or wrong. And then they play the new version that we all know, and everybody kind of dances and sings along to it. And they kind of go like that. And then towards the end of the last hour is just like a party. But
Does everyone like have to participate?
No,
like I'm not good at.
no,
Okay.
no.
Cause
There's
I
way
was
too
not-
many people for
Okay,
that.
okay,
Yeah, you be there for 9 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was
No,
like,
like-
I would not be good at that. But
there's like 6 or 7 like showdowns that go on or whatever, and then the rest is just a party. It's a great time, and it's well curated. They're doing well. I think they're expanding outside of New York now. So I did photography for them. That was a really cool party.
wait, I gotta go.
New York's got some cool
Okay,
shit. Yeah,
nice.
for sure.
And then just 2 other places I want to shout out. Kind regards. I know we talked about. I know I said that I'm not really a like Manhattan.
I've only been there
girly.
one time, but it's cool.
But my friend Lily, who's a DJ, she used to DJ there a lot, especially the downstairs area. It's
I didn't
really
go
nice.
downstairs when I was
Downstairs
there. I didn't go
area
downstairs.
is the spot, like
That's a
definitely
turn spot,
different
right?
Vibe. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. And yeah, you're just in the city, you're at a vibe. Damn, what was the other spot I was gonna mention?
Have you been to in the city as well? I just went for the first time. Deluxe Flux.
Deluxe Flux. Yeah, I like Deluxe Flux.
That shit
too.
cool. That shit cool.
What's crazy is one of the first times I went out when I came back to the city from graduating. I went to Deluxe Flux because the L train was down, and so we weren't going to Brooklyn.
Yeah.
But yeah, I went to Deluxe Flux, and I really think it's a place that's dependent on the DJ.
Okay.
As most places are in New York
Yeah.
City. That's another difference between
That's
New York City
that's
and
the
other
biggest difference. I
is that you
think.
really got to follow the DJs and not the spots.
Mm-hmm.
But it was, I like that it's, when you go in, it's like very bright and like kind of like neon.
The graffiti and everything, the
Uh-huh.
art or whatever. Yeah.
And then the last time I went there was to see Lily DJ, and they got a little green room. Did you know that?
Nah.
Like right next to the, oh maybe I shouldn't say, but whatever.
No.
Anyways, right.
Most places be having.
Yeah,
rooms,
it has a code. So unless you know the code, you
Yeah,
can't get
yeah,
it.
of course.
But right next to the DJ on the left, there's a door.
Yeah.
And, like there's a whole nice green room in there.
Yeah.
And there's a stairs that takes you up to the DJ booth from inside the green room.
Oh, so you didn't even have to go into the crowd night. Oh shit,
Bro.
that's fire.
And like, it makes sense that there's a door in a room there. But
Yeah.
I just never.
You would never think so.
I never. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's-
No, places should have green rooms. Like Sultan Room that has a green room been in there. Red Pavilion. We're about to have my next one. So
Oh,
you need to
record
go.
room is what I was gonna say.
I still haven't been, bro.
You gotta
I see it
go.
on all y'all stories every week, and I haven't
gotta
been.
go.
It's with the
Yes.
neon sign with the little. You know what I'm saying? Is it all vinyl?
No. So Moochie, you know Moochie.
I think so. Yeah.
He's like this really good white DJ.
Yeah. No. I know.
Yeah. So he has like, I guess like a residency there Tuesdays.
Okay.
And he does vinyls.
He does
on
vinyls.
Tuesdays.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's been really big. So I'd recommend Tuesdays. I went on a Friday, which was also really good. He was DJing there too, randomly, I think. And we got there at a good time. I would say get there before 9 for sure. If you want
it's
a little
like an earlier
table,
vibe.
just if you want a little table. If you want to
Okay.
get a little drink and sit for a little bit,
Yeah.
get there before 9 because by the time it's like 10:30,
Packed up.
it's packed. It's gonna be packed.
Is it like a dancing place though, or is it more like we're like listening to music?
Oh,
Because that's the vibe I got, was more like listening to music, which isn't a bad thing. I just mean like it's different.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a mix really
Gotcha.
because I think like the earlier you get there, the more like you're sitting down, like you have your little cocktail, have a little bite, whatever.
Word.
But then once more people start, like there's a big kind of open space that people
Mm-hmm.
will just be sitting, like just be standing in and dancing.
Yeah.
So it definitely turns into like I guess like a club
Okay.
at a certain point.
That's cool. I'm about to check it out. That's the other thing about New York, bro. There's just
just
so
far,
many
though.
places. You said, oh, it's far. Where's
It's
it
Long
at?
Island City. I had to take a car to get there because I'm once it gets into Astoria and the
You're not playing
Queens
with
and
it?
Greenpoint,
Yeah.
I just know.
You're not. Yeah. Damn. I didn't know it was in Queens.
It's
I
Long Island
assumed it was
City,
some
yeah.
Bed-Stuy, Bushwick shit.
It was like a 30-minute drive for me.
Okay. Got you.
So-
Have you been to Carousel?
Yes, yes,
Underrated newer spot,
yes.
bro.
Oh
Facts.
my gosh,
Underrated
yes.
spot. That shit is fire.
With the pit.
the pit, the little booths and
they have like a
everything.
little like smoking section on the ins. Have you seen it?
Oh, I didn't know that a smoking section.
Yeah, it's
but
like
it's big. It has like the not two levels, two like areas like this, and it's split by like a wall and like another bar. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been there actually twice.
Okay.
One time I went there on a random because I live close to there.
Okay.
So I went with my roommate and we
Yeah.
just went on like a random like maybe Tuesday night or something like
Mm-hmm.
that, and it was still a vibe. Got a cocktail or two, and then I went back on like a kind of more crowded night, which was
Mm-hmm.
also nice. No, Carousel is great. I also really like Vacations.
Haven't been. Same area.
Same, like maybe like down the block. Like,
Okay, gotcha.
Like on Cypress.
Yeah.
And yeah, so you go up to the roof and there's like 3 or 4 different bars on the same roof, but each is like a different theme and they all have different cocktails.
Okay.
But then you can go outside to like the perimeter.
Yeah.
And there's seating and like you can just sit
Oh,
and like
shit.
you have like if you want to order food, you can like they'll bring it to you and like
Yeah.
that's also a really good spot.
Damn. Do they like throw parties there?
No. It's more like a
It's like
Just
like you go for the venue. This isn't like a curated DJ.
no.
Okay.
It's really just
That's cool
like
too, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what's cool about Carousel as well. When I went, at least as far as I know, there was no event, there was no cover, there was no whatever. So to be able to pull up to a spot in Brooklyn at night that doesn't have to be the curated DJ spot is also big for the venue. That you can draw people off the strength of like, this is just what we are type
Yeah.
shit. Word.
And I feel like that's like sometimes what I didn't like about some New York spots when I first came back, like after being in DC and like after like, where everyone does have a section and like whatever, is that there's not a lot of seating. And especially for a girl, it's like you need to have seating.
Word.
And and so I appreciate about like places like Vacations or Carousel or Georgia Room. Have you been to Georgia Room? It's on like 23rd and Lex. I love
I've been
Georgia
there
Room
only
space.
for Fashion Week parties, but I've
Yeah.
been to like 4. Yeah.
Isn't such a great space.
It is. It's
Like
really
they
nice.
have that like
There's mad
they-
space. Mad space.
like and
That
you,
whole outdoor area away from like the red like room itself. You know what I'm saying?
and you
Yeah.
can and you don't have to be VIP to
Yeah,
go
yeah.
and sit down.
You're allowed to sit.
Like you can sit down
Facts.
and you could have your little drink. You could go back
Word.
into the club part of it.
Word.
And I feel like a lot of times with like black spaces or like black events, a lot of times we don't have that. You know what I mean? We can't just go into a bar and sit down. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like it's got to be a ticketed event or
Yeah.
like that. And sometimes it's nice to have that, but sometimes it's nice also just like go to your local bar and just like
Hang out.
have a drink.
Word. So out of the Brooklyn nightlife scene, we both have a good time in there. Is there anything key that you're missing? I guess aside from seating, or something like, yo, I wish there was X, Y, and Z.
That's a good question. No, not really.
Yeah.
I think I like
You get what you need type shit.
yeah. I think when you find your spots, you find your spots.
Mhm.
And I'm trying to venture out more honestly, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think for the most part And the thing about New York too, like you said, like there's no really dress code, so I could wear sneakers. Like if I'm not trying to wear heels, if I'm trying to be comfortable, if I know this place is not gonna have seating for me, like I'll wear sneakers and I'll be fine. You know what I mean?
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got you. Nah, the reason I started my shit was because, well, it actually goes way back. So I moved to Philly 2019, fresh off of graduation. And I was always like, yo, when the new R&B album drops, where can I hear it outside? And I just never found a spot. And if you go to an R&B party, as I just said, you always gonna hear Usher, Omarion. And like, shout out to legends, they're amazing. But it's like, bro, there's mad good artists right now dropping dope shit. Even though not all of it is to the same energy level of, about Usher, I still want to hear it outside. And then, you know, I was in Philly for 2.5 years, and I was like, all right, when I moved to New York, and I had visited my entire life. I just hadn't really been to like the nightlife of New York like that. But I was like, oh, New York's got to have it. Like, I know when the new Party Next Door drops, I'm going to go outside, I'm going to hear it, and I never did.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, bro, I got to give y'all some shit where the new age R&B actually gets some love. So speaking of like, what do you think was missing? For me, that's what was missing. And that's obviously not all you hear at my event. And based on the location and the timing of it, you get a different type of vibe, whatever. But like one thing I have to remain constant is definitely like new age R&B is gonna be a main feature thing. Still gonna have the Afrobeat, the West Coast, the hip hop bangers. We'll throw Sexy Red at the end, or whatever. But like, I need some new age R&B, bro. So that was what I felt was missing. And like, shit, I gotta bring it to y'all.
I love Party Next Door.
Yo, he out here, what?
I saw him at Broccoli Fest.
Just now, right?
Yeah.
How was that?
Like,
crazy?
Amazing.
He's good live?
Like he was an artist that it's like you don't realize how many hits he has.
Different.
He has so many.
And how many he's written?
Like
he wrote Anti by Rihanna, bro. He wrote like almost the whole album. Work? That's his word.
I think I did hear that.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, he's different.
Like he was performing and the thing is like I appreciate different artists for different reasons. I feel like Party Next Door, obviously his catalog is amazing. Like, and his set I think got cut short too. And like he still was not I don't even
bullshit. It be bullshit.
Yeah. Okay. But I would say the top two performers of that weekend was Victoria Monet. Talking about new age R&B.
You read my mind. Everybody
new
said
age
she went crazy performing too. She can dance. She's a superstar, bro. She's
like amazing. Like I was blown away. Like I was just like looking at her and I was just like, wow, like beautiful, amazing voice, dancing, like amazing. But Sexy Red, like so Sexy Red was earlier in the day, and that's when we was like out on the ground floor, whatever. And when I tell you the whole crowd was like, and that's another level of appreciation that you have to have for an artist. There's one, you know, respectfully, no one's maybe gonna say that, you know, vocally Sexy Red is at the same level as Victoria Monet.
Oh, hell,
you know what I mean?
That's not even a conversation.
You know what I mean? Respectfully. But energy-wise, vibe-wise,
she gets y'all outside.
When that bitch went on that stage,
it is sexy,
right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, fucking baby, that like everybody was turned. Like in that stadium, like actual stadium. So it's just like I had a lot of respect for her for that. And then of course like Victoria Monet was good. But I actually had a question for you. Like, I've been seeing a lot of discourse about Chris Brown, and Usher.
Okay.
Do you have like who I guess is like
Usher's better in like every aspect.
Okay.
For sure. Yeah, it's not even a question.
Well, like elaborate. Like
I mean, first off, you know Tank? The singer Tank?
Wait, Tank and the Bangers? No.
Nah.
The male singer?
Yeah.
Oh,
like
I've heard of
short
him.
hair, brolic as fuck, R&B singer.
Yeah, I've heard of him. Yeah.
He was in what group was he in with Tyrese and that nigga? TIG, some shit like that.
Some okay.
But he was trying to say that Chris Brown is better than Michael Jackson.
No,
and I'm like,
no
bro,
way. Okay.
Like,
no, he did it. All right.
Especially as an older dude. Are you just trying to fit in with the young people? Like, bro, shout out
Michael Jackson? Yeah. All right. You went too far.
Because the levels is like Michael Jackson, who inspired Usher, who inspired Chris Brown. But I also think like that's the order of talent and impact and legacy and just catalog of music that they produce. Like, and obviously I'm saying this as someone who obviously I listen to more Chris Brown than I listen to Michael Jackson.
Right.
But his catalog and the albums he has, and like song by song, the level of platinum hit he had, like there's no touching that, bro. Chris Brown is dropping 45 song albums. None of us are listening to that shit, bro. It's not a thing. You gonna get No Guidance with Drake. We love it. You gonna get the song with Wizkid. We love it. Sensational. With his fake little accent. He's gonna get the shit with Davido. More fake accent. We'll get one of those an album, but he's dropping 20 songs. We don't give a fuck about, bro. You can't compare that to what Usher's done with Confessions and like, nah, like Chris Brown's biggest fault in his career, from a music standpoint, beside the personal life, which has had a lot of issues, both with Rihanna and with Karrueche.
Right.
But from a music standpoint, his albums are never like classic albums.
No, of course.
You get one or two hits, but you don't get like
song
by song. Like
I did like Fame. Y'all remember Fame?
I remember Fame.
I had
a bright yellow Fame hoodie with bright yellow high top sneakers on play with. That was my shit.
Yo, Fame is one of them.
Yeah.
But I agree. I think that Usher has classics, and Chris Brown just has like for the moment.
Yeah.
And the reason I brought it up is because I know a lot, like Usher was on tour, or like he had the Las Vegas residency.
Yeah.
Where he was performing, doing the
for
whole
sure.
like whatever. I really wanted to see that.
Yeah,
I'm so
sure.
mad I didn't. And then obviously Chris Brown was on tour, and so a lot of people are like comparing their performances.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
I mean, from a talent perspective, Chris Brown is pretty ridiculous. Like, he has a great voice. He can dance his ass off. He's an insane athlete. He's like the best hooper celebrity out there. So like, pure raw talent, like capabilities, what he could have been type shit. He's like generational. He's 1 in a million type talent, 1 in a billion type talent. But output of music, output of albums, I can't put him with Usher, and I certainly cannot put him with Michael Jackson.
Who would you put him with?
I mean, when did he come out? When was like, yo, excuse me, miss? 07-ish?
It was early.
No,
yeah.
And he's not that old, because he's been around for like 20 years.
Y'all remember This Christmas?
Oh, phenomenal.
Okay.
Bro, what? Every December, best believe I'm watching that, and I'm listening to his rendition. No. I used to listen to Chris Brown OD.
Yeah.
I would put him with, I mean, in his generation, since he came out, he's been the most talented artist for sure.
Yeah.
So like Trey Songz, also extremely problematic.
Right.
He's more talented than him.
You think Trey Songz is more?
No. Chris Brown is
okay.
I'm trying to even think who else would be his peers.
But no, that is Trey Songz is a good one. Yeah.
Who else has even had like longevity of Chris Brown? Because the newer guys, Bryson, Party, they
came after.
Way later.
Way,
like who came out as a teenager and is still like.
I'm trying to think like who was I listening to on the radio, like driving.
They're not around.
School.
Jay Holiday's not around. Genuine's not around. I mean, that was the end of Genuine. Who's the nigga on
The Dream?
Mrs. Officer?
Lil Wayne? Oh.
No, of course. The Bobby Valentino.
Oh, okay.
He's not there. Pleasure P. All those like mid 2000s, even the Dream faded off.
Yeah.
Now, he's a crazy writer. His catalog is crazy. But all of those kind of people, from like just an artist standpoint, not counting writing, he's in a category of his own with longevity.
Yeah.
Because who came out then that we're still listening to, that you're going to hear outside, that's not like an old classic song? You're not going to hear it.
Yeah.
So he's kind of in a category of his own where he's like above all the modern people. But I certainly don't think he's at the level of Usher.
Drake is kind of around that time too, but
Drake's way better and bigger.
Yeah.
But also he's a rapper too, so that's very.
It's different than just R&B. Yeah.
Yeah, Drake's in a category of his own, honestly.
Yeah.
In terms of that, no, I mean Chris Brown makes good music, but albums, bro, I'm not listening to 45.
No, I'm not.
The same shit.
I can't remember the last time I listened to a Chris Brown album.
Yeah.
It's probably Fame.
Word.
Which
I was saying like a full album. You saying like listen to a full album?
No. Yeah, I don't
facts.
check for his albums.
You want to hear one random hit with a fake accent? You want to keep it pushing?
Fake accent.
For sure. Some new age R&B artists I really like. I don't know if you heard of any of them. Raheem.
No.
Very low key. Maybe. Isaiah Falls.
Yes.
Florida baby.
Yes.
Florida baby.
Yes.
He's fire.
What's the other guy that Jordan Ward?
I saw him open up for Smino. He's tough.
Yeah, okay.
Tough.
He opened up for Masego too. For a summer stage. I saw
makes
him
sense.
there.
That makes sense. He's super talented.
He's good, yeah.
He's super talented. Ryan Trey, who's also from St. Louis with Jordan Ward. You know White Crocs by Jordan Ward? Mm-hmm. Ryan Trey's the featured artist on that.
Oh, okay.
He's a really dope artist. Chico Russ is pretty new. He's out of Montreal.
Okay.
And he's making like, he calls it R and Bounce, which is like that early 2000s upbeat, dancey, I'm pulling up on shorty music. but in like a modern version, he's doing really well. I think he has
you
a
should
bright
get
future.
like a playlist together.
Oh, I got
like a
shit.
Vino playlist.
We already got the Vino Vriday playlist.
Vino playlist.
We already got them. I'll plug them right
Great.
here.
Okay.
I already got the playlist for
Okay,
sure. So
okay,
those are some new age and like not just new age, but like new artists. I say
Yeah.
in the last few years that I really fuck with. So
Nice.
there's a lot out there, y'all. There's more than shout out Usher. We love our goats, but appreciate the current stars while they're here too. So
Another question.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how we're doing on
yeah,
time. Feel free to
no,
cut
we
me
can
off,
one
whatever.
more. We're good. Yeah,
But Apple Music versus Spotify.
Spotify, get out of here. What's
Okay.
wrong with you?
Okay.
What do you use?
Well, I've
Nah, that means
wait,
nah,
wait,
that right
wait,
there,
wait.
that's Apple Music. That's how you know it's Apple Music.
Pause.
They love
pause.
to make a clarification.
No.
They're
Okay,
wildin'.
so I was on Spotify first, like back in the day, right? When there was LimeWire and FrostWire. Y'all remember that, right?
Definitely.
I was on Spotify, right? And then I was like, back then, the iPhones wouldn't let you delete music, the music app. We talking about way back when. They wouldn't let you delete the music app. And so it would just
facts.
hold
They just
like
call it music. Yeah.
yes, right. It wasn't Apple Music before Apple Music, and so I was like, "Fuck, okay, like let me just delete." It was too much storage. I was like,
Yeah.
"Let me delete Spotify. Let me just stick with music, right?" And then they came out with Apple Music, whatever. It worked out. Earlier this year, I switched back to Spotify.
Yeah.
Because I heard about all like just the different features that they have,
It's-
like
bro.
Discover Weekly, like the blend, like DJ, like, and I'm obsessed with all those different features now. And I do feel like I'm listening to more different music, which I love, because
Mm-hmm.
I did feel like with Apple Music, their maybe algorithm or whatever
Trash.
is just not what it should be to expose you to new artists,
Mm-hmm.
but also blend it with what you actually like. Like if you're listening to new shit, they just gonna give you new shit. They're gonna give you,
Yeah.
like random new shit.
Yeah.
But it's like I want to listen to like, you know, Florida Baby, but
Yeah.
also like some new stuff that's like
Yeah.
similar to it. But yeah.
Yeah. One thing I don't know if you noticed about Spotify now, they have this smart shuffle.
No.
So
wait.
playlists can be shuffled, right?
Okay.
But they can do smart shuffle where they add additional songs that they think fit the vibe
Wait, okay.
based on some crazy algorithm, which I'm sure is like about genre, BPM, the amount of views it gets, people who listen to this song also listen to this
Yeah.
song. So on top of just like shuffling a playlist, let's say, because I make big ass playlists,
Yeah.
I can also do smart shuffle where they're randomly adding in songs they think fit that I can then add to the playlist as well.
Okay.
So from a playlist perspective, they like category their own.
I've seen
category
the
they own for
feature,
sure.
but I've never used it. Excuse me. I
There you
really
go.
like the day list.
Yeah.
You guys have you used the day list? My
Yup.
my roommate's obsessed with the Discover Weekly, but I'm obsessed with the
Mm-hmm.
day list because when it hits,
Yeah.
it hits.
And my favorite is probably just all the different playlists.
Yeah.
They get mad.
They got a
awkwardly
gospel
specific.
mix. I was like
Everything,
the
bro.
gospel mix.
Yeah.
Shout out to gospel.
Yeah.
Shout out to God. But like the gospel mix, so good.
Yeah.
They got a hype workout mix,
They have everything.
really good.
Yeah.
They got a getting ready.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, you're right.
And then they'll have like they have like an R&B one. Then they have like the X playlist, which is like R&B with melodic rap. But then they have like all the tiers of R&B or whatever genre you're into from the biggest stars, and they'll slowly get more and more niche and more curated to your vibe. And they'll give you somebody with like 5,000 listeners, and they'll have one crazy ass song that you love. Like I've discovered the most random. I don't want to say anyone making music is random, but like people I would not have known of from Spotify.
Right.
So certain playlists I'll just let run, and they start going crazy. And I feel like that's honestly the best way to listen to discover music. Because IG is cool. Shout out Complex. Shout out like Pigeons and Planes, which is like their kind of hipstery version of Complex music.
okay.
It's pretty good. But I'd say that's the best way to find music.
Okay.
Yeah. Especially if you just want like a random artist who makes something fire that's not like signed to a major label or whatever.
And or if you just
Yeah.
like don't want to listen to the same shit. that
It's
you're
easy to.
listening to.
It's
like,
so easy to.
I'm sorry, I don't want to listen
Yeah.
to Never Lose Me anymore. You
For
know
sure.
what I mean? Like I don't want to listen
Word.
to like,
This ain't shit.
you know.
100%. But no, I appreciate you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Thank you. You know, I hope you had a good time on Vino Conversations episode 5. But thank you all for tuning in. Peace.
Bye.
Peace, y'all.